Hey, what's up, everybody? Bdf 44 coming at you with another video. I haven't done this one, it seems like a very long time, honestly. Last couple times I went out, I didn't turn on the camera. I didn't really feel like it for whatever reason, but I feel like it now. I feel pretty good. I got out to do some grocery shopping here. As usual, same old routine. Headed to Hollywood, grab a bunch of stuff, fill up the backpack, walk up the hills, you know, the routine. Haven't been able to do it as much because a lot of things have thrown me off over the last couple of weeks. But today is a normal day. No Laker game coming on early. The team had been on a road trip that requires the games come on early, so it kind of affected that for me and different things as well. So yeah, man, feels good to be able to get over there. Haven't been over there in about a week or so, maybe a little less than that, and see how the day goes. Yeah, man, I feel pretty good. It's cold. That's what I can say. It's freezing for our standards anyways. You know, we had a pretty hot summer. Very hot days came with that. You know, not as hot as last year, but hot as hell. But this year, as it pertains to this winter, yeah, this is a cold winter for our standards. Now, if you're in the East Coast or if you live somewhere like Russia or something, you probably don't want to hear anything like this from me. But I think it got as cold as like 44 degrees at night and like 50 something in the daytime over the last couple of days. It's starting to warm up a little bit. I think it's probably, I didn't check to see, but it feels like it's about 65 right now, 63, something like that. That's what it feels like. I don't really know how cold it actually is right now. But in the nighttime, boy, it's been freezing for the last 3 days, man. Type of cold. And to see, the thing about it is the heaters, they haven't lit the pilot since they've changed management. You know, they fired the guys that usually like the pilot for us. And I'm sure I could figure it out myself, but I didn't. So it's been cold, man. And I sleep with the window open because I can't stand the feeling of windows being closed. It's just how I've been for years and years and years. So when it's cold outside, it probably is the same degrees in my room. I'm just weird like that. I would rather deal with the cold than to deal with the stuffiness of air that doesn't circulate. It's just, that's how I am. So yeah, I've been dealing with it. But you know, a warm bed, and I got my sweaters and stuff like that, so I put it on and deal with it. But I can admit that it's harder for me to get out of bed when it's cold. It is much harder for me mentally to get up in the morning, get up to use the restroom. I have to really psych myself into dealing with it. And so that's just really what it's been, man. About 3 days straight of that. And it's going to continue to be cold like this probably for the next couple of days. I think it's going to warm up a little bit and then go back down and then kick back up at the end of next week to like a normal 73, 75 degrees. So yeah, we're dealing with cold right now, man. It's one extreme after the next. But I've come to terms with an opinion that I would much rather deal with the cold than to deal with the heat. Now, I think I had the opposite opinion when I thought about this last. But just having dealt with extreme heat very recently and extreme cold, I think I prefer the cold right now. That may be subject to change again, but the heat is a certain irritation and pain that comes with walking in the heat, and exhaustion, and there's no really escaping the heat. You take everything off and you're still hot, depending on if you ain't got air conditioning. It can be rough. So I dealt with it this year at times, not very often, without air conditioning, and I can tell you I can deal with this better than that. This is much better than that for me. So yeah, that's my new opinion there. But what else is going on, man? Let's see. Everything's been smooth, man. I've been paying attention to my interests, you know, doing the Laker thing. Lakers have really been consuming a lot of what I've been doing because we've been having so many games these last couple of weeks. But we're on a stretch right now where we don't play again until Sunday. And so it's Wednesday right now. So this is going to be the longest stretch maybe of the season that we don't have any Laker basketball. And then further into next week, I think we only play twice next week. So it's only like 4 games and like 10 nights over the next 10 days or so. So should be a lot of opportunities for me to to do what I normally do, handle my routine, and maybe even go do some things that I wouldn't have normally did. I want to go see mom at some point. I would have maybe done it today if it weren't if it was not for me needing groceries today. I would have gone over to the cemetery in Inglewood, but I might do it tomorrow if I feel like it. I don't know. That's an option. Of course, this is the final week of the contract, so I will be getting out of this room on Saturday morning, and I've already reserved my room. I don't know if they've charged me for it yet, but I already reserved my room at the motel, so that should be straight. Everything should already be taken care of in that regard, so not too much of a stress in regards to that at all. Very thankful that everything's been working out in that way, and may it continue to. So that's what I'm saying. But yeah, man, what else is going on? Just managing. Body's been feeling pretty good lately, for the most part. A little congestion because I think I bought some meat that was a little too much, some steak that was a little too much. But I've since moved on from that and started going toward a different type of steak cuts, and so I like that meat. Maybe I'll stick with that kind of thing. But other than that, I've been pretty good. Ain't nothing really going on with my health. My body's been reacting well to the exercise I've been doing, so I can't say I complain too much in regards to that. And you know, that's really what it is. The energy comes and goes, but I've had plenty of rest, so I'm ready for what today will bring, which is a day of building strength with the heavy backpack. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. I'll be able to climb hills today and all of that. Get this walk in. Did my Hunter's Blue a little more, twice in the last 4 days, which is a far cry from what it's been. I've really been slacking on that over the last 4 months. But nice, in a decent little rhythm right now. And hopefully body will continue to be up for that. And all my nighttime work still gets done. Morning squats, all that stuff never changes. I don't take a day off on any of that stuff. And so, yeah, man, just another day in the life, man. Ending off the year, hopefully on a positive note. And, you know, continue on the mission of trying to utilize my voice for positive things and for raising awareness for things that are not so positive as well in the world, as you guys know. And yeah, man, just paying attention to the same old stuff, man. It's not a whole lot new there. People of Gaza are dealing with not only the stuff that's happening in the genocide, but also horrible conditions for which no aid is coming their way. It's really tough, man. But they're dealing with flooding and severe weather conditions. I don't really know what to say other than as a black person, it is severely insulting to watch a people be dehumanized in the way that the Palestinians have been dehumanized in modern times. It is absolutely and utterly insulting, because you know that they did the same thing to my people. And I wasn't alive to see that necessarily. A little racism here and there. We've pointed it out. Yeah, we've dealt with whatever we dealt with. But in modern times, it's not the same type of dehumanization that our ancestors went through. But we get to see what it looks like when people try to normalize the suffering and the collective punishment of an entire race of people, man. I don't know. You know, forgiveness is a word that I truly believe in. I really believe in it. I think it's better for the party that harbors it than spite will ever be. And so I'm asking the Lord to help me forgive whoever for whatever, for the betterment of me. You know what I mean? So the words that I'm saying here don't actually apply to what I truly believe is best. But I'm going to have a very difficult time forgiving the Zionist Jews for how they're doing the Palestinian people. Not that they would ever ask for my forgiveness, I don't believe they want it, nor do they think they're doing anything wrong. And that's what they do. That's their position. Mine, that's going to be a real difficult time in life, forgiving them for how they did these people, and how they're normalizing doing these people. It is just insulting, man. It's a different type of insult as a person of color. Now, I don't speak for all people of color. In fact, there are black people who very much support what Israel's doing for reasons that I do not understand nor appreciate. I do not speak for all black people, not at all. I wish I did when saying this, because I think that every person should feel offended by what's going on there, but not everyone does, and that just speaks to whatever it is. I don't agree with it, whatever. But based on myself, how I feel in my skin, it is a slap in the face watching them do this to these people. The behavior toward them and the normalizing of it. And how they look at us like we're wrong, or look at us like we were raised wrong for not being fine with them doing this to these people, for whatever their reasons are. And then slapping us in the face with lies about why we should be fine with it. The only constant in all of this, the only constant is that they truly have been trained and raised to believe that they are better than everyone else. And that fact in their mind, that perceived fact, is what we all apparently from within their position struggle with. Because they walk around with that as fact, and it trickles down into every bit of their opinions and their perceptions of the world, the disconnect between us, people who are not pleased with what they're doing, and them is vast. It's a vast, vast space between us two, as to where we say there is nothing different between what it is that you're doing to the Palestinian people and what was done to you by the German people. There is no difference. You are, in fact, what it is that you hate. You have turned into the Nazis. And the Nazis, too, made every justification within what it is they believed, the dehumanization of your people. They did that. And you are, in fact, doing the same thing to the Palestinian people. It's not just the genocide. It's the normalization of the people who being genocide is pain. Their pain is being normalized. That dehumanization is an attack in and of itself. It ain't just the violence. It's the normalization of that violence and the normalization of those people suffering. That part is just as difficult to watch as the violence is to me, to be honest with you. That's just as difficult. I watched a lady on an excerpt from a conversation. Didn't see the entire context of the conversation. And I believe context it has been proven to be important when considering words. But I believe that I gathered enough from this to get the gist of what it is she was trying to say. And she was essentially saying that modern young people's position on this Palestinian circumstance, she refused to call it a genocide, just like most Zios do, is a byproduct of essentially all of us not being raised right by, or taught right by our school system. That we would correlate what happened to the Jews in their Holocaust to what's happening to the Palestinians by the Jews in this genocide. She thought that it was a dereliction of education that would make it so that we would look at the Jews as if they were the Nazis as we compare circumstances between the two. And it's because she has it written in her head without considering it as something that is foreign, that the Jews have a right to do this to their enemies. As all of these Zayos were taught, that they have a right to bring down a fierce hand upon anybody they oppose for whatever reason they choose, because they're better than everybody else. If not for that variable, as I've already mentioned, they would too be forced to see the correlation between themselves and the Nazis. But the difference between them and the Nazis in their mind is that they were chosen by God to do whatever they choose. So they have a right to do whatever they want to as Jews. And that the world around them should subscribe to that, because they have taught this to one another over the course of time and believe it is fact. I cannot stress this enough. As long as they continue to view themselves in the world this way, there will be no way to help them understand how they are no different. Because that variable gives them a pass to consider themselves different. I do not know how to fix those people, so long as this is in their head. And that's what I want to say to anybody who's listening to me, them and you, whoever would listen to me. I don't know how to fix them as long as they continue to harbor this as fact. As long as they believe themselves to be above reproach on any and all wrongdoings they choose to do against people they oppose because they're better than others, there's no saving them. I'm just being completely honest with you all. There's no saving them. They believe they have a right to do what they choose, and they believe they have it's within their best interest to lie, to absolutely lie and embellish, to force the will that they believe they have a right to enforce. If you're not going to be fine with the truth, we will tell a lie, and then from there will be justified, because again, we're greater than now. And in being greater than now, we can do the things that you should not be able to do. Lying and cheating and stealing and killing for you is wrong. Lying, cheating, stealing, and killing for Jews is fine. This is how they walk in the world. And as long as they continue to walk this way in the world, they're going to always be in a space from which they can't be reached. They're going to always look at all of us as if we have some type of dereliction, I guess is the word, or some type of deficiency to what it is we're taught, because we don't agree with that. You can't save them. Can't save them. Because immediately, based on all of this, anything that's done to them in reaction to what it is that they've engaged in violently is written off as an attack unprovoked. And it's because of that one variable. The variable that they have a right and are meant to do.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
I'm selling gas. It's $10.
I can make things get something from you later, man.
Okay.
All right. They have a right to do whatever they choose. And so it's not written into their thinking. It's not implemented into how they assess things that the world should be unhappy with their choosing, with what it is they've chosen. They can choose whatever they want. They have a right. So you reacting to it unhappily it's like, it's just, they don't understand why, it seems. But that's what they want you to think. I could go kick somebody in the forehead right now if I'm them. It is fine, because I did it. And I'm Jew. Now, if that person decides to harm me, it's the equivalent to somebody harming me unprovoked. Because of the constant variable that anything I choose to do should not only be fine, but not responded to. And then I write it into my understanding that anybody who harms me gets hit 20,000-fold for any swing they do toward me. So I kick somebody in the forehead, they kick me back in the forehead, and I annihilate the entire country. And then I tell everybody around that they hit me unprovoked, and as a result, I'm defending myself. No mention of me kicking them in the head, right? Because I have a right to kick them in the head. Of course, I'm me. They can't do what I do, nor can they be unhappy with what it is I choose. And all of you should agree. You should. You have to. There's something wrong with you for not seeing things my way. You was raised wrong for not believing that I have a right to kick that person in the head and that they have no right to respond. And then furthermore, if they do, they should be punished severely more than what it is the harm they did to me. There's something wrong with you. You were not raised correct if you think otherwise. And most importantly, you hate me. You hate me because I am me and I have this right. Also a byproduct of you not being raised right. That's how they walk around. Sophisticated, educated, but this shit is what is in their skull and in their spirit as they move about the world accomplishing whatever they do. And if you have a problem with that, then you obviously hate them. You are one more reason why they are so hated in this world, for which it's just so unfortunate. Now, any of us, all of us, any of the choices that we make in the vein that they did, clearly wrong, provocations, and ultimately whatever comes your way because you did horrible things you shouldn't have did. You shouldn't have did any of those things. Oh, you kick him in the head. Of course he's going to kick you back in the head. But you're going to hit him 20,000 times? You have no reason. You're not right for hitting him 20,000 times. What, are you out of your mind? Unless you're Jew. Then it's understood. This is fine. These are impossible people. That's essentially what I'm saying to you. It's impossible. You cannot reason with people like this. They don't leave any room for any reason to come their way. They deflect anything that would otherwise hold them accountable, written into how it is they ultimately approach the world. I don't have to listen to you. You're not Jew. We teach one another this all day, every day. And we have more than you. We have more than everybody. So why would we listen to you? This goes back to the ideology that a lot of people harbor in capitalism, that if you don't have a certain amount of money, you shouldn't be listened to. This is where it comes from. This is the birth of that right there. This is why that's in place. Because they don't have to listen to any of you, because they got more than you. Now, how did they get more than you? By doing a bunch of stuff they had no business doing if they were you. But since they're them, they can do it. They're better than you. They have a right. Whatever they choose is right. Whatever you choose had better make sense in regards to the parameters that they don't have to abide by. You are not Jew. You don't control the world. You don't harbor the understanding that you are greater than everyone else, least of all us. And so whatever it is you choose to do, just understand that it's beneath us unless it aligns with what it is that betters us as we give out to you whatever we choose. Be happy with us as we continue to push forth whatever we choose. Poison towards you, buy up all the stuff that ultimately makes you worse and sell it to you. Because it's fine, because we're Jew, we can do it. Not only can we do it, but it's our duty to do it. We're supposed to rule the world. And as we're supposed to rule the world, no one is supposed to be unhappy with any of our choices in getting that power. In fact, you should praise us. You know, at the end of the day, when this is all said and done, you're supposed to actually serve us. You are all our slaves. And furthermore, any of your major religions that ultimately aligns you with any type of connection to God, it's idol worship. It's idol worship. Like, there's no way to reach that. You can't get through that. They've made it so that you can't. Any holding them accountable is hatred. You must hate us because we have a right to do whatever we want, and you want to get in the way of that right. Of course, you hate us. Anything that we do to anybody while wearing our skin is justified. So if you happen to react to it against us, it's unprovoked. You challenging us is you not accepting us. Like, there's no way to get through to that. I'm sorry, there's no way to get through to that. And anybody from within our ranks that doesn't agree to this is a self-hating Jew. We shun them, we close every door on them, we use everything we can to push them aside and make life as hard for them as possible because they are disgraceful. They are not meeting their duty as people who are supposed to rule the world. Held above all. And this is what they choose to do, to buck us. They hate themselves. They're just as bad as the Goy. I'm telling you right now, man, I do not see a solution outside of violence. I don't see a solution outside of violence. Now, I'm not saying there isn't one. But I'm telling you, the more I come to understand this mentality, the more I understand that the only thing they will yield to is violence. It's the only thing they'll actually yield to. You can't shame somebody who will kill children on camera and then stand behind a lie and say they ain't doing it as you're sitting there watching the footage. You can't shame them. You ain't gonna shame them. You cannot shame a people that believe they're better than everybody else. And then furthermore, anything they choose is fine, regardless of what it is. You can't shame them. People who are willing to do horrible things, awful, evil things to uphold their own power. You can't shame them. They harbor no shame. Why? Because it's written into the functionality of how they operate. They can do whatever they want. And you're supposed to be fine with it. You are supposed to be fine with it. That's the part that's also really key in all of this. It is written in stone that you are supposed to be absolutely and utterly supportive of whatever they want to do. That they can do whatever they want to you, and you are not supposed to be unhappy about it. You are utterly at their mercy because of who they are and what it is that they ultimately believe. Now, if you believe that, then you're at their mercy, and if you happen to align with what it is that they want, then you're good. But you serve them. Don't forget that. Don't get to a point where you think you can get as much money as them. Don't get to a point where you forget that you serve them. Don't get to a point where you think all of your merits belong to you above them. You don't ever think that. Anything you have is because they allowed you to have it. And if you get too much and you become too established and you start thinking you're them, that's when you start becoming an enemy, a threat. unless within all the power that you have, you're still bowing to them and aligning with whatever their agenda is. Whatever the hell it is. You tell me what works against energy like that. You tell me what works against a mindset and ideology like that. It's been passed generationally down the line through a people who've had everything forever, except for their own land, because they keep getting kicked out of it, because they keep on, apparently unprovoked. Everything that they do is fine, so it's unprovoked, but they keep getting kicked out of every damn land they go to. Anywhere they go, they get kicked out of, and they can't seem to understand why we just don't be fine with everything they choose, as they continue to stomp on everybody and give themselves passes for everything that we would otherwise say is wrong amongst one another. They do it all and can't seem to figure out why they don't have a land. Can't seem to figure out why they gotta kill people just to have a home. I know once in 1,000 years have they thought maybe it's the ideology that we align with that keeps us from being welcome in the places we ultimately want to land. Maybe it's because we keep doing things to people we should not do. And they don't care about that. Why? Because they're Jew. Greater than you. And ain't nothing you got in your goy mind more solidified and valid than what it is they had in their book that was written 3,000 years ago. Nothing. That's also written in stone. You don't harbor the wisdom. You cannot harbor the wisdom because you're not chosen. So whatever you think you got in your head that you think is better for us than what it is we're doing is bullcrap. And any consequences we go through, any consequences that come our way because of the choices that we made, bullcrap. Because at the end of the day, everybody hates us. Shouldn't be any consequences for what it is we do. It's persecution, it's not consequences. It's a product of everyone hating us as we just living our lives being ourselves. There are no consequences. What are the consequences? No, that's not consequence. That's persecution. Goy being unhappy with what it is I choose is persecution. Disrespect. It's hatred. Saddens me. I just want to be myself. How come you won't let me? I just want to harbor my land, thrive. How come you won't allow it? Type shit. We cannot reach these people. End of story. That's what it comes down to. You can't reach them, bro. You cannot. As long as they have enough people within their circumstances shunning the few individuals within their circles that don't agree with this shit, they're going to always be able to scare people into aligning with this. Even if it don't make sense within their realms, they will scare people into aligning with it. Just like they're scaring people outside of their circumstances into aligning with it. Nonsense. But it works. Can't say it doesn't work. That's the scary part. The scary part is wondering down the road who's going to do this again. Who's going to look at all of this and say, yo, this is how we take over the world and keep it. Harbor these behaviors. This is how you do it. I'm telling you right now, man, it's going to get real ugly, man, because the world that they've been in all this time, did not have anybody looking at them like this. Nobody was looking, nobody was saying these things. Nobody cared to say any of this. They weren't on anybody's radar. It was universally understood that they're chosen. It was universally understood that they probably just harbor everything because they're better than everybody else. And that's what God gave them. Nobody was digging into the ideology to find out if they actually believed in God to begin with, which they don't. That's the secret. I don't think a lot of them even understand that. But, you know, Your ideology is not aligned with a belief in anything's greater than yourself. That's why you're doing everything to harbor everything, because you need to be God. You're not trying to believe in God. You're trying to be it. Now that thought that I just thought in my head, that's a Goy's thought. Nobody that follows their religion is going to actually believe that. As they bounce back and forth and bow their heads and speak to whatever devils they ultimately are actually reaching with their prayers, they end up to be effectively cloaked from any understanding that this is actually the truth. Nor does the truth actually hold any consequence, because above the truth is their will. Mind you, that's why they have no problem lying. They just got to maneuver around the psychological resistance of the Goy's mind. That's really what it's about. Got to maneuver around the psychological resistance of Goy's mind. Truth does not harbor much consequence, because there's a variable in there, and that variable is we're above reproach, we can do whatever we want to do, and that everybody is wrong for being mad at us for doing it. So whether you feel concerned about the truth or a lie or whatever it is that you are harboring, we're just trying to maneuver around your minds so that we can push forward in whatever direction we choose as Jews. Truth, lie, doesn't matter. Will of the people of God is what matters. Like the psychology of it is pretty much bulletproof as it pertains to swaying their minds. It's bullet fucking proof. Excuse my language. You can't shake them loose of this thinking. You can't walk up to them, shake them a million times and get them to understand it. This is why you have so many of the hostages coming back and immediately saying, I serve Israel. I still serve Israel after all of what it is I learned, after all of what it is I've done, after all of what it is that's been happening here, learning and seeing the goodness in the Palestinian people's eyes as they hold us as hostages but still feed us. They're supposed to do that because we're Jews. They're Goy. So whatever goodness they harbor in their heart it's a byproduct of the weakness that comes from not being chosen. They have to be nice. They're supposed to be nice to us. They're supposed to feed us. We are Jews. We're better than them at the end of the day. And do you understand this psychology can't be reached? And for those of y'all who are listening to me, who happen to be on that side of the fence, that is exactly what it is. You're not going to teach one another that, because you got to continue to stay in position. And that is exactly what your ideology was created to do, is stay in position. Stay in a position of strength, stay in a position of dominance, stay in a position of victimhood, if ever held accountable. It's built so that you can't escape it. That's why a woman will get on stage and tell us that although there's no differences in what it is that we're seeing between what the Zionists are doing to the Palestinians and what the Germans did to the Jews, that there is some distance that we should understand that apparently we just didn't learn. That we were not taught right. That they need to mold us better. So that we will accept that the Jews are above all reproach, and that any resistance to what it is they choose is persecution against the Jews. And that you were not taught that you didn't inherently have that in your household from birth is a failure in your upbringing. That they are in fact good for annihilating their enemies in this way. Don't ask how they became enemies. That part ain't important. They opposed us, which is persecution and hatred. They unprovoked, in an unprovoked way, attacked us after we made choices against them. This should not have been done on their part. They did this to themselves. No, Scratch that. They did what they did to us. And we must assure they never do it again. Or anyone for that matter. That's how that works. I'm telling you, world, we're under attack. The whole world is under attack because you got people like this running around with all the wealth in the world. And a bunch of shady government officials in place that they've placed there. They placed most of these government officials in place. They educated these people themselves. They paid for most of these people's education. They're not going to sway. They owe them too much. They owe them far too much. They control everything you're addicted to. Everything you're addicted to, they own. All your creature comforts in life. They sell them to you. You need the Jew. You know something I've come to understand? You know, the last couple of days I had a thought in my head. It seemed ever so clear to me. There's a lady that I follow often. She's a Muslim lady. A sister though, she's from Florida. Really successful. She was showing pictures of her old self before she found her faith. She didn't walk around with her hair wrapped up. She was dealing with all types of, whatever that she was true, whatever her lifestyle was. It wasn't following her religious understandings that she now follows to a T. And there was a lady in the comment section saying, careful, because you ain't supposed to be showing people pictures of who you were. That side of you should not even be reflected upon. You should not be showing it. If you show it, you're supposed to blur it out. And my natural Americanized mind said, that's tough. They really have to oppress themselves, cover themselves up. It seems so unnecessary to me. And then I came to understand something. As I was thinking that, I'm like, no, that's wrong. It's the opposite of that. We walk around so susceptible to the things that are used against us in the flesh and lustfulness. We show ourselves off. We walk around willing to more or less sexualize our women, especially in my community and in the brown communities. We sexualize our women and then are susceptible to the different controllings that come from that way of doing things. They are protecting themselves against that for which comes against them in that regard. They too have a bulletproof alignment of behavior and thinking that doesn't allow the enemy to come in. They're not suppressing their ability to show off themselves. They're protecting against the understanding of a threat that we, within our way of doing things, is constantly vulnerable to. And we don't acknowledge this as a threat. But as we continue to learn, we realize that our openness is used against us. Our willingness to show off our bodies is used against us. That our sexual ways ultimately become things that can be used against us. That we tend to put, in a lot of cases, sexuality above things that ultimately protect ourselves and our family. This is a weapon used against us. If we were to harbor the understanding that we cover ourselves and discipline ourselves against these things, it would be more difficult for those things to hurt us. But because we don't properly perceive those things as threat, we leave ourselves vulnerable. This is what Islam has taught me. They're not covering themselves up to suppress their women. They're covering themselves up because they understand a threat that's been against all of us, for which we've been constantly being attacked by. That if it wasn't for the presence of this threat, they would not need to do this and probably would not cover themselves up, cover up their faces, cover up their skin and all that. They need to protect against that for which victimizes them, which ultimately exploits sexuality, exploits promiscuousness, exploits those things. The enemy exploits those things. It's equivalent to not wearing a seatbelt when you're driving. If you've never understood why you should wear a seatbelt, you never will. But once you start to understand why you wear one, and you put one on, if you got any damn sense, same difference, same thing. It's the same thing. You start realizing these Jews own all of the porn sites, All the black market sites basically invested money into that. They're always pouring into celebrities that are teaching you how to be more promiscuous. And then furthermore, use your sexual deviousness to blackmail you if you're government officials. All your sick sex weirdo stuff that y'all doing, that's the leverage they have to continue to keep you moving in a direction that ruins your own damn country. If you would have wrapped yourselves up from birth, you would have never been susceptible to those things. If you wouldn't have been raised in a space where it's fine to be sexual all the damn time, your sexual demons would have never gotten out of hand, and they would have never been able to exploit your ass through them. But if you don't perceive what it is that's happening there as a weapon or a threat against you, you're never going to wear the damn seatbelt. And you're always going to look at people who do as restricting themselves, because you don't perceive what it is that they're faced with as a threat, as it's continuing to whoop your ass. This is why they want to tell all of us that Muslim people are the worst people in the world, because if we start learning about these people, we start becoming curious about these people, we start becoming friends with these people, we start learning what it is that they're protecting against. They start helping us understand why we should be wearing spiritual seatbelts to protect our backsides, and that we've lost many people unnecessarily because of it, because we failed to do so. This is why they don't want you paying any attention to that. This is why they want you to think those are the worst people in the world, that they're looking to hurt you. They're not. They're looking to protect themselves against what's hurting you. And as a result, those who are hurting you see them as a threat, because they are. We do not have the same enemies as our enemy. But if you don't perceive your enemy as your enemy, and you listen to your enemy within a certain trust, he's going to tell you all of his enemies are your enemies. And that he, your enemy, is your friend. This is the dynamic America's been dealing with. This is the dynamic the Western world's been dealing with the Zionist Jew for thousands of years. They've controlled the propagandists in our various countries, leaving us vulnerable to the attacks that they intend against the Goy, who is everyone who is not them. This is what we've learned. Many things are going to start adding up if you start understanding that as fact, just like they understand this fact that they are able to do whatever they choose, and that you are wrong for having a problem with it. And furthermore, just hate them so very much, and it's so damn sad that you victimize them by hating them so very much as they continue to do whatever the hell they want against you. Whatever the hell they want. I'm telling y'all, man, this stuff is understood now. We're not walking around in the dark about this. They can't throw a couple celebrities in our face and have us unlearn all this and what we've seen. They did this to themselves, awakening all these people by doing all this evil stuff that they did in our faces. While we were sitting there holding devices, they were showing us all the evil vices that they were engaging in the name of themselves. And they want us to unlearn all of this because, of course, we're supposed to, right? We're supposed to not see all this noticing and stuff is against them. We must be hateful. We're the worst people in the world because we see them doing the worst things in the world. But they have a right to, because they're better than us, and that's all it is to it. And they want us to unlearn all of that. We ain't supposed to be thinking or nothing. We ain't supposed to be speaking or nothing about any of this. They use all the surveillance tactics and all these different things that they control to suppress all of this truth, because truth holds no consequence, just what it is they choose. And I'm telling all of y'all, as long as you continue to allow them to feel this way, think this way, and move this way, they're going to continue to do so. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. Video 44. Thank y'all for watching.